XRP is sending a ripple through Bitcoin. See what I did there? I know, dad joke, right? Anyway, we'll talk about Ripple and Bitcoin and a few other interesting things in a minute. So hang around, okay? Okay, for the benefit of those who didn't get it, XRP is the symbol for the newish cryptocurrency called Ripple. I'm going to talk about Ripple in just a bit, but first, as usual, you can speed this video up by clicking on the gear icon in the lower right and selecting a new speed. And stay around to the end for another of my trading maxims. Oh, I added a new one today, so my current total is 41. Let's start by looking at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin looks ready to break out of this consolidation up here that I've talked about now. I mentioned it several times actually, and that I would be a buyer down here at the 50%, but you know, it may not actually get down there before it breaks out, because we're seeing a drop in the volume down here in addition to this sideways movement. So just keep an eye on this, watch for this breakout. If I see an explosive move to the downside, I will reconsider that long entry at the 50%. It all depends on the volume, okay? What I'd like to see is a nice drift down here, the 50% on low volume, and then I would be a buyer right there. It just looks like the interest in this sideways movement here is just dropping off. But keep in mind, this is Easter weekend, so a lot of traders may be on holiday. Just be ready for a move in either direction. I think long is the better bet, but there's got to be volume behind whatever breakout occurs. Volume is the key. When the breakout occurs, with volume, of course, use the ATR to calculate your initial target and your initial stop loss, and then let the second half run. I would use 1 ATR for the target, 1.5 ATR for the stop loss. But if it breaks out of this consolidation and then closes back inside this consolidation, I would close the trade, because then I think you're probably looking at a head fake. That's the safest thing to do anyway. And always remember, if you want to be a profitable trader, you can't have a bias. You know, I think this is looking like a buy right now, and I guess that gives me a little bit of a bias, but I'm willing to change my mind if the picture changes. Okay, so here's a funny story about Bitcoin. You may or may not know that the developer of the blockchain, which is the technology on which Bitcoin is based, he's remained anonymous for unknown reasons, but he goes by the handle of Satoshi Nakamoto. Well, here's the funny story. John McAfee, you may know him from McAfee security software that just about everybody has had on a computer sometime in the last 20 years. And I don't know, in an effort to remain relevant, perhaps, says he knows who this Satoshi is and is going to pressure him to reveal himself on McAfee, or McAfee will reveal him. So, you know, I guess we'll see how this works out. I do love how they use this Game of Thrones reference to the Faceless Men. For those of you who don't know, the Faceless Men are a group of anonymous assassins in Game of Thrones, and this is a picture of one of the Faceless Men. So I thought that was fun. Okay, let's take a look at crude oil. Here's the daily crude oil chart. I was talking about this earlier in the week. This bearish wedge over here looks like it might be about to break. Plus, we've got another volume drop here. But like I said, holiday weekend this weekend, plus we're getting close to the contract close here. So we may see some reduced volume on that. And, you know, so this volume drop off could just be related to that. So keep an eye on this. Always be sure to use the volume to filter out head fakes in price movement. So if this pushes down here below the line, but we don't get a supporting big volume push, then I would wait it out to see what happens next. Here's another one from last week. The British pound is down in the support zone that we talked about last week, and there this time is no huge rejection wick. You see there are all these rejection wicks in this zone, but this time we've got a good solid move down yesterday. The volume is still pretty wimpy down here, so I don't know if I'd be short of this if it gives us a good close below this level. But I'd want to see at least volume up here above the average. So again, watch this. Don't develop a bias. I know I say that a lot, but it's important, and so that's the reason. So watch for this, especially a drop close below the zone. Okay, I'm going to look at something new to me, at least. This is XRP, also known as Ripple. Ripple's kind of a relatively new cryptocurrency, and like Bitcoin, it's based on blockchain technology, which suggests that it's probably fairly secure. The difference, according to Ripple.com, that's the Ripple website right here, is that the settlement speeds are fast. They say that Ripple will settle in an average of 4 seconds, where Ethereum is 2+ minutes and Bitcoin is over an hour. And of course, we all know how the banking system is, and you know they have no excuse for that. But there it is. So the other nice thing is, apparently, again, according to Ripple's own website, XRP handles 1,500 transactions per second and can scale to handle the same throughput as the Visa card system. So we'll see. I think it looks interesting. You know, I recommend this Ripple.com. Just check it out, find out what you can about it. So, you know, I'm a technical analyst, and I believe the chart has all, or at least most of the information we need to trade. So let's take a look at that. Since XRP is new, there's not a whole lot of chart to look at here. You can see how far it goes back, February-ish, yeah, mid-February. So I've added Bitcoin down here so we can compare the two for correlation. When you got a new instrument like this, all you can do for a little while is look for correlations with other instruments to get some idea of where you might see it stall. I did plot this on top of the XRP plot, and it was just really hard to look at. But you can see there's some correlation. At first glance, they may not appear to be very similar, but if you look, you will see that your up days, and this, even though it was actually a bullish candle on Bitcoin, this was actually kind of a negative day. It closed after making this big push up, and so you know, this was more of a whipsaw day, but it was kind of a negative day, positive day, negative day, positive day, and so on. So for the most part, that's the way you have to compare sometimes. Sometimes the charts will look similar, but a lot of times you just have to look at each individual candle and compare them. But so you can see on the days that Bitcoin pushed up, Ripple pushed up, and on the days Bitcoin pushed down, Ripple pushed down. So you probably can kind of keep an eye on a Bitcoin chart as you're trading the XRP to find the places where you might see some stalling on the Ripple, at least until we have some history to look at. Right now, you know, really all we've got is as far as support and resistance level is the bottom and on the top on Ripple here. So 39 cents on the top, 29 cents on the bottom, and so, you know, if they get to that level, expect some stalling right there. It's likely. Now, obviously, price blows through these levels sometimes, But most of the time what you're going to see is it's going to push through a little bit and maybe kind of go sideways before it actually seriously breaks out. So the one thing I do think is that we got this nice triangle here on Ripple. So this thing has got to break out soon. The very worst case is it may just dribble out and continue to go sideways. But usually when you get a nice consolidation like this with the reduced volume, at some point soon this should break one way or another. And I wouldn't be surprised if it coincided with the Bitcoin breakout I was talking about earlier. So I would definitely add this one to your watch list, because I think it's something you need to look at on the regular, as they say. Okay, you made it to the end, and now we're going to talk about the next trading maxim. Tim's trading maxim number 25. Trading is a marathon, not a sprint. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If anyone tells you it is, they're lying to you. That doesn't mean to say that you can't make a lot of money in a short amount of time. I'm not saying that. But you need to be in this for the long run. Make sure you take the proper time to test out your systems, because you'll have them for the rest of your life. Okay, thanks for hanging in there with me. If this video was helpful to you, please click the thumbs up below. And as always, thanks for subscribing. And don't forget to hit the bell. Have a great weekend. If you're celebrating Easter this weekend, have a blessed holiday, and we will see you next time.